Jackson Podcast.
What's good? What's good? What's good? What's popping with y'all, man, today on this beautiful Saturday night? I was looking forward to this conversation. We got a lot of traction in one of the uploads, the Killer Mike and Bill Maher upload, where they was having the discussion about reparations. And I'm just here to clear up some things and have a great discussion and an educational conversation with my people, the people that tuned into my channel, the people that is subscribed to my channel, and discuss these ideologies because I really don't do YouTube for a financial gain like a lot of people would assume, because it's people that's making a living off of YouTube. I do it because I want to have these discussions in a healthy way where you're speaking to somebody that doesn't have an agenda. What's up, Blaze? What's up, Blaze, man? Appreciate you for tuning in, man. You've been supporting me since day one, dog, and I'm very thankful for that. And you know how I feel about these topics. My channel was originally created to discuss hip hop, to have conversations about artists and with artists and stuff like that. And it pivoted as I pivoted and I've grown. I really don't have a niche. It's I really don't talk about nothing specific. I'm just all over the place with what interests me. So, as of recently, we've been gaining a lot of traction in the historically speaking playlist. The historically speaking playlist is gaining a lot of traction because the conversation is growing about reparations, delineation, uh, you know, black culture unifying to be able to make something greater and help each other. What's good? What's up, Doug LeMay? Checking for foxes. Who is foxes, man? I don't understand that terminology. Help educate me with that though. But we're gonna get into this Thomas Sowell conversation. He spoke about black people started slavery. That was, something that was interesting to me because I have no knowledge of that. And I'm one of those individuals, I like to learn. So I put a call-in number on the show because there's people that says that I'm spewing a lot of rhetoric, talking a lot of Republican language and all of this stuff, and I don't have nobody to call in to challenge me. And I'm not even trying to be challenged. I want to learn. If you right, you right. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, I'm right. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It's not an issue. It's about, you know, moving the people forward, moving the culture forward. So if y'all haven't checked out the historically speaking playlist, go check that out. It's a lot of information in there, man. And we're just gonna go ahead and get started with this conversation with Thomas Sowell. Let's play the video.
Tom, reparations. Talking about disparate impact, the idea that discrimination is so deeply embedded in the American experience that it can take place even in the absence of an intention to discriminate. So this argument, which is that there's some basic flaw or sin that's still with us, comes up in the case for reparations. Longish quotation, but it sets something up. But from Ta-Nehisi Coates in an article in The Atlantic entitled "The Case for Reparations." White supremacy is not merely the work of hot-headed demagogues, but a force so fundamental to America that it is difficult to imagine the country without it. And so we must imagine a new country. Reparations is the price we must pay to see ourselves squarely. The wealth gap merely puts a number on something we feel but cannot say, that American prosperity was ill-gotten and selective in its distribution. What I'm talking about is more than recompense for past injustices. What I'm talking about is a national reckoning that would lead to spiritual renewal. Close quote.
I want to open up the discussion before I let Thomas Sowell react to Ta-Nehisi Coates, because Ta-Nehisi Coates wrote a lot of books. But I want to open up the phone lines. I want to open up this discussion with, at the beginning of that quote, he was saying that it's necessary, basically, because of the injustices that was done to us as a people. I agree with that statement. And I agree that Ta-Nehisi Coates is a dope individual. He write dope books that's very informative. But he's also said at the beginning that it's hard to imagine America without white supremacy. That's interesting to me because like I would love to see people not view themselves as superior to other people. Because we're humans first before we are a race. That is my opinion. We're humans first. So the superiority complex would be interesting to see the country without that. Let's get back to it.
Quote. And Tom Sowell makes what of that?
Well, it tells me that I've made the right decision not to read the Atlantic for decades. Slavery is a very big subject. I have in my home an entire bookcase of books about slavery in various parts of the world and various times of history. And the sad fact is that slavery has been a universal institution for thousands of years, as far back as you can trace human history. And what we're looking at is if slavery is something that happened to one race of people in one country, when in fact the spread of it was around the world. In 1776, which is when Adam Smith published The Wealth of Nations, as well as when the United States got started, he said that Western Europe is the only place in the world where there is no slavery. And even the Western Europeans had vast numbers of slaves in the Western Hemisphere,
yes,
but not in Western Europe itself. And so if you're going to have reparations for slavery, it's going to be the greatest transfer of wealth back and forth, and between and cross hauling, as they say in the railroads, because the number of whites, for example, who were enslaved in North Africa by the Barbary pirates exceeded the number of Africans enslaved in the United States and in the American colonies before that, put together. But nobody is going to North Africa to ask for reparations because nobody is going to be fool enough to give it to them. Here we have intellectuals who can imagine a different history from the rest of the world, even though it's so similar to the rest of the world.
Let us not indulge in the simplistic notion that slavery is a uniquely Western outrage, nor that it is some historical aberration that befell only one race or one nation. On the contrary, slavery has been woven into the fabric of all societies at virtually all times. We see it in the ancient world, in Africa, in Asia, in the Middle East, in the Americas, and even in Western Europe until quite recently. The notion that black people started slavery is neither original nor accurate, but it does serve as an example of how historical myopia and moral posturing can combine to warp our understanding of the past and blind us to the present. Everywhere one looks, one finds human beings exploiting, subjugating, and trading other human beings. It is a universal dilemma, a perennial temptation, and a stain on every civilization that has succumbed to it. We begin with Adam Smith's observation, made in the very year that the United States declared its independence, that Western Europe is the only place in the world where there is no slavery. We must then ask, what did Smith really mean? He did not mean that the Europeans never benefited from the labor of enslaved people. He meant that within the boundaries of Western Europe itself, approximately, there were no formal institutions of slave labor. By contrast, Europe reveled in profiting from the enslavement of Africans in its colonies, while maintaining the veneer of civilized society within its own borders. The ships might have set sail from Lisbon or Liverpool, but the brutality of the Middle Passage and the plantation fields were offstage, hidden behind a veil of separation. That was how the economics of slavery could coexist with a self-congratulatory morality, one that celebrated freedom at home while endorsing enslavement abroad. Yet the simple fact remains, Europe did indeed have vast numbers of slaves in the Western Hemisphere, and not an insubstantial number of white Europeans were themselves enslaved by the Barbary pirates in North Africa. According to some historical estimates, the Berber corsairs took in excess of 1 million white Europeans into bondage over the centuries, a number that at its peak even rivaled the African slave trade to the Americas. Now,
I want to stop it right there, and I want to leave room for people that want to call in to the show and discuss this, because that's interesting that he's using a comparison of the white people that was previously enslaved by the historical education that he has. His perspective and ideology is interesting, seeing that he is a brother himself. But what I want to ask for a favor from y'all, man, hit the like button so we can trigger the algorithm. Share the show. If you new here and you want to contribute to the discussion, call into the show. But I want to talk about a few of the things that were said before I continue on playing Dr. Thomas Sowell's take and his interest in his education, because this isn't the only video I want to play. I want to play another one also of some of his thoughts. So what I want to say is that, you know, he said white slavery exceeded blacks, as if that's a conversation that, you know, that we actually care about right now, because they in totality are in leadership in this country. And I really don't like using the word white and black, because that's a social construct to me. To me, basically, I feel as if that's a social construct. I don't feel like that's something that's concrete, that, you know, we made it exist. It really doesn't even exist. Another thing that he says, that reparations will be the greatest transfer of wealth. And at the end, he said back and forth. So he already has an expectation that if we do receive reparations, it will go back to the people that gave us reparations in the first place. Another thing that was mentioned also was slavery still exists, but in a different form. It's not physical no more. It's in the mental form. That's interesting to me, because, you know, it's people that's free that is doing worse than people that's actually locked up, because their mind isn't free, but they are physically free. Let's continue on with the video, man. Appreciate y'all for tuning in to the show, man.
now calls for reparations from the descendants of North Africa. Wherever the tearful editorials and the impassioned congressional hearings, one finds none. Because one thing is abundantly clear: reparations based on slavery cannot be consistently or fairly applied across the historical record without condemning the entire human enterprise to paralyze itself in the quagmire of guilt, grievance, and respectable recrimination. If we were truly to try to make reparations based on the full and universal history of slavery, it would indeed be the greatest transfer of wealth back and forth between and across Holland, to borrow the railroad's phrase. Imagine a world in which the descendants of white Europeans who were enslaved in North Africa demanded payment from the descendants of the world's Arab, Berber, and Ottoman powers. Imagine if the descendants of the African petty kings who sold prisoners of war into transatlantic slavery demanded payment from their own descendants. Imagine if the descendants of the Aztec, Inca, and Maya rulers, who themselves used captives as human sacrifices and laborers, demanded reparations first from each other, and then from the Spanish and the Portuguese, who participated in those earliest systems of bondage. Indeed, the complexion of this entire debate would change if we were forced to confront the global reality that slavery is not a moral legacy belonging to one corner of humanity, but a universal failure of morality and self-restraint. Yet nothing of the sort happens. The reason is obvious. No society or tribe or nation has the moral authority to claim a monopoly on victimhood when the record is replete with so many perpetrators and so many victims across every conceivable line of ethnicity, religion, and geography. If we restrict our judgment to the Atlantic slave trade alone, we engage in selective moralism. If we expand our field of vision to include all human slavery, our outrage becomes diffuse and our appetite for reparations becomes ungovernable. That precisely is why few are brave enough to pursue reparations consistently across the board. The perfect is the enemy of the good, but indeed the unachievable is the enemy of pragmatic justice. Whenever we hear a call for reparations based solely on the transatlantic African slave trade, especially when it is directed primarily at white Europeans or their descendants, we must ask, by what moral logic do we single out one instance of a universal phenomenon?
I'm gonna stop it, and whoever called in from the show to the show from Southfield, Michigan, call back into the show, man, because I would really love to hear your perspective. I apologize for missing your phone call. You know, I had my phone on silent and everything while I was doing the show, and I ain't even, I'm just slipping, to be honest with you, though. But uh, one thing that I took from that conversation is that reparations based upon slavery. I feel like the injustices that was done to black people is far beyond slavery. To be honest with you, that's just my perspective of it. Because you got to think about Wilmington, you got to think about St. Petersburg, you got to think about Tulsa and Black Wall Street and the things that happened to those people once they built up a community. It's deeper than slavery at this point. I also mentioned the Holmesburg experiment on my channel, and just a conversation about it, how they was experimenting on prisoners. So reparations is deeper than slavery. Like, you got to be knowing about more historical things that happened, burning down people, businesses and stuff like that. Also, hold up, here go the caller. You calling into the Trevor Jackson podcast? Who am I speaking with?
Hey, man, what's happening? This is Eric from Michigan.
What's good, Eric? What's good? How your day going, man?
Pretty good, man. Thanks. Appreciate it. How you doing?
I'm blessed myself, man. I appreciate your call. What did you hear during the live that you wanted to speak on, my brother?
Well, I just look at this, man. A lot of people, when we ask for reparations,
yes,
they always try to go outside the box and say, "Oh, well, it happened over here. It happened globally," and this. But we, man, I don't know much, but we're talking about America. We're not talking about what happened in this country and that country, and we that's just, Thomas Sowell has always been a kind of an, agitator, black agitator, man. That's pretty much what he is, man. And that's somebody I don't even really, I kind of just clicked on, man. I was just going through my little read on YouTube, and I saw that, man.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, come on, seriously.
I tried to bring Thomas Sowell up to spark the conversation because I needed a spark so we could have the discussion. And
right.
To me, reparations is deeper than slavery, fam. We got to think about what happened after slavery, how they was treating black folks and tearing down our communities and everything, man.
Yeah, okay.
I think you got to turn your TV down in the background. I heard some echo, and I apologize. I don't think you heard.
That's me. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying it's deeper than slavery, my opinion. I feel as if, we got to think about what happened in other places, Wilmington, Tulsa, the Black Wall Street. You know what I'm saying? What happened?
Of course.
Yeah. It's
the economy. We help raise the economy, man. A lot of. If you're talking about slavery in other countries, we just built the greatest economy in the world, man, and we get nothing for it. And while we plan, we know that it's well known that slave owners got reparations when we got free. How does that happen?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna keep on pushing and believing, and I don't care what the Thomas Sowell is saying, and different people, they always want to talk about global slavery. That's for those other countries to handle,
Yeah.
So this is strictly America. So so I'm with the fight, man. So but thanks a lot.
I appreciate it. I got a question for you though. If you got
yes,
the time,
sir.
I've got one more question to ask you.
Go ahead.
This is something that has been on my mind as of recently. Do you think Africans owe Black Americans reparations just as much as America, or what's your thoughts on that? Because I'm starting to feel
that's kind of a touchy subject because too, and I think a lot of times when I hear about slavery in other countries, it wasn't as brutal as America.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I'm hearing, like from history, when somebody was a slave in Africa, they really was like an extended family member, a servant.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm maybe under the impression that they thought that this is how Americans was going to treat blacks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you follow what I'm saying,
Yeah.
They never dreamt that it was probably going to be like generations, what they call that, chattel slavery. They
Yeah.
probably never thought it was going to be that. They probably thought like, hey, they're going to be indentured slaves, and after so many years, they let them go free and you know, let them you know, get a living in America. But unfortunately, it was something totally demonic.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I can't hold Africa, because Africa, some places in Africa is not even stable enough for themselves. You know, like, you know, some of these countries like that's building up, like Nigeria and Ghana and some of the bigger, most of them are under China rule. I mean, those are the countries that's the country that's helping them
Yeah.
build up their infrastructure. So I don't really expect nothing from it, but I don't think we should. I mean, to be honest with you. So.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's a good question. I want to follow when you ask the other callers that too. So
Okay. I appreciate that. The reason I asked that is because we're starting to realize that a few of us as individuals was, you know what I mean, originate in America. And,
right.
And some people still have the perspective that we came from Africa, and Africa sold their people to America for certain items and things or whatever.
Right.
So that's just sparked my interest. Do they owe reparations just as much as America? But I appreciate your call, my brother, man. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, man. Good luck with your show, man. I'll give you a thumbs up too. So
salute, man. I highly appreciate you for tapping into the show, Eric.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Hey, salute to the brother for calling in to the show, man. Sparking the discussion, helping out with the channel's algorithm and the conversation. That's just something that was interesting to me. Do Africa owe slavery reparations just as much as America? It's just been on my mind as of recently. Let's get back to the video, man. Thank y'all for tuning in to the show. Let's go.
Why do we not demand reparations from every society that engaged in slavery? Why do we exempt ourselves and our allies? The answer, of course, is that we do so out of convenience or sentiment or political calculation. But convenience, sentiment, and political calculation are not the same as justice. Indeed, the moment we elevate convenience over principle, we set in motion a process that cannot be contained. The moment we use selective outrage to validate our own self-esteem, we invite counterclaims that by their very scale defy any meaningful redress. But let us return to the bigger picture. Slavery on every continent has been a product of the same fundamental human failings: greed, ambition, arbitrary authority, and the dehumanizing impulse to reduce other people to mere property. Each culture that practiced slavery did so under the pretext of necessity or divine sanction. But in every case, the result was the same: moral corruption, social stratification, economic distortion, and cycles of violence that echoed for generations. Yet in most cases, societies eventually found the moral courage and practical means to abolish slavery, not because they were coerced by a distant government, but because abolitionist arguments prevailed over vested interests. In Great Britain, for instance, the abolitionist movement harnessed the power of moral suasion, economic argument, and political organization to end the trade in 1807, and then slavery itself in 1833. It was not the descendants of slaves who forced Britain's hand. It was a small group of activists who discovered that moral clarity could overcome economic inertia. That is the pattern one sees repeated across the Western world. Ironically, however, in the very places where one would expect the fiercest commitment to abolition, for the moralists who condemn the transatlantic slave trade, and that moral clarity vanishes when the ledger of historical guilt grows too large to be settled. Even more revealing is the tendency of certain intellectuals to use reparations as a convenient club against their own society. By casting a guilty glance at white America, they manufacture a grievance that unites disparate constituencies: academic progressives, identity politics zealots, left-wing activists, under the banner of righting historical wrongs. But this tactic relies on a double standard. fixating on one group's participation in one era of slavery while ignoring others' participation across time and geography.
Hey, that's crazy what he said. Like acknowledging one group of people participation during a period of time and ignoring the others. You know, why am I concerned about the others when I'm concerned about my people and the evolution of my people and wanting to see my people win? Until that happens, I can't be concerned about what's going on with other my fault, y'all, other races and what other people got going on. He also said that groups practice slavery based upon necessity. I need to be educated on this, man. I need others to participate to help me understand that. I got my dog in the back room too, man. We gotta chop it up, man. Hold on, let me get you on the screen, FBJ. What's poppin' with you, my guy?
Man, dude. I just from nap, and I seen I got that first thing I got in.
Yeah, I had to get you on the show, man. I wanted to get you on some more like conversations of trending topics and stuff though, but this is a good, you know what I mean, space because my channel been bunking as of recently and people been wanting to discuss the reparations conversation and talk about FBA and stuff more. What's your thoughts just on if you heard any of this off top, fam? Thomas Sowell and everything.
Yeah. I feel like hold on, give me 2 seconds. I feel like I got it. All right, cool. Yeah. I think problem with the guy Thomas, honest, it just back I feel he's a white like he's an emotional white people. I feel like he says a lot of things. He's like a Jason Whitlock. He says a lot of things that makes white people feel good and reaffirms their racial stereotypes. And he's like the intellectual version. Hey, I got black. Hey, my friend. That's who he is. And you can say some things about okay, talk is right. The way you can frame certain subjects may sound like you know what you're talking about, or it may sound like he has like this research to back it up. But it's really not. And when it comes down to the reparational conversation, we have so many other racial groups who have benefited and gotten reparations from America. And we're the only ones who have it. And then when the conversation comes to Africa reparations, Africa is broke as hell. With all due respect, they can't pay themselves. They can't pay back the French. They can't pay back the British. They're never going to pay Chinese. And then anything they need to do, they have to sell out their resources to get you to help find and get their resources from the ground. So how the hell is the most indebted people going to get around to getting niggas back?
So I need to just change that thought process and ideology, FBJ, because my mind, I was like, if they, we understanding that some of us are foundational to America right now. You know what I'm saying? We wasn't slaves. We was here before that even happened or whatever. So my concern shouldn't be to the people who feel like they ancestors and shit came from Africa. They shouldn't be owed reparations. I shouldn't even be thinking about that, fam.
No, that's like dead people back child support. They don't have it. They don't have it. We know it. Mama know it. The older siblings, they all call that. He lived it out. He was grandma.
Yeah.
So it gets like I said before. We don't need any type of black scholars that love the proximity to whiteness to the point where they're gonna hold black people back from our own progression. And we gotta look at this just because you got on a bow tie and bifocal, it does not mean you black people. Just because you let no eyes, you still old nigga, don't mean you have enough wisdom to be the spokesperson for black liberation or our own reparations. These are exactly that. When racist white people feel guilty and they want to find a black person who check the temperature of African Americans or ADOS or FBAs, or say, hey, should we do this? Should we pass this bill? Should we cut this right? Or should we give these niggas a break or give these niggas what they're owed? Is the Thomas Sowell of the world be like, hell nah, these good for nothing Negroes is living off the government already, Or, well, why don't you cut the check to these Jack and Jill or these Boule organizations that's propped me up to speak negatively anti-black, and it will take the money and do its best for the black community. And we still got Martin Luther King Boulevard getting shot up every Friday night. These are the blockers.
Yeah, I agree with you. I fixed the echo, FBJ. I be forgetting, like, when you using StreamYard, you got to turn the echo off if you add in video to the stream or whatever. And then you got to turn it on if you have multiple people on the stream. So that's, you know what I mean, some game for some people that's using StreamYard or whatever. But I do agree with you with that, though. A lot of people that speak to the black people, they speak at the people instead of speaking to the perspective. Me, when I be on my channel, I just be trying to learn from niggas that know better than me. You know what I'm saying? And educate me on some things. And I appreciate you for just tapping in on my show, man. I got a clip I want to play. And I was going to play it down the line during the show, though, but I want to play it now and just see what your thoughts is about this guy, man. He was talking about reparations, and I'm glad you on the show because I got somebody else I can converse with about this. Let me go ahead and play the clip, fam.
As a community, we are more divided than I've ever seen in my life. The women and the men hate one another. The old school and the young school hate one another. Religions hate one another. Classes hate one another. Like, we're more divided within our community than any opposition that we have among any other group of people. And we really need to heal from that. If all of us got a check right now for reparations, that's not going to heal the pain in our heart. That's not going to heal the broken relationships that we've suffered or that we've created. That's not going to heal the trauma that we're dealing with, that we express to each other every day on social media. We're just going to have more zeros in our account, but it's not going to change our mindset. It's not going to change our consumerism mentality. You're not going to all of a sudden become a responsible person just because you get a check with some money. And so we need to heal, man. We really, really need to heal.
Hey, before you respond to that too, Florida Boy J, I want everybody to go tap into my boy channel. I'm going to post the link in the chat for y'all to go hit the subscribe button to his channel, Florida Boy J. He be having some dope content, some dope discussions, and he be cooking on his show, and I fully support this brother. Yeah, but what's your thoughts on what he's saying? Are we more divided than ever? That's just the question.
I feel like we're actually not more divided than ever. I just feel like black people are at different levels and have different priority bases based off the economic levels they're at. Like if you come from a certain place and you have some sort of formal education, or you have a level of intellectual environment that you can learn from freely, your mind state where you and your priorities are for the like-minded people that you're around as a black person is a lot different from a black person who might be in the hood, or, you know what I'm saying, a nigga who's struggling to survive and his brain is in survival mode. Of course, they may not be financially literate. Of course, they may not have experience with money. But I do feel like stop telling black people that when we get reparations, it's just supposed to be a giant check with no like financial acumen, no type of springboard to learn to get the money. I feel like if you're going to give niggas reparations, we have to pass certain financial courses in order to get the money. I really do believe that. I believe that there should be a level of financial education you should pass a bar to in order to qualify. Now, there should not be a timeline on it. Whenever you can get to it, you can get to it as a black person. But for you to, and I appreciate the hat, by the way, Duval County stand up. But for the fact that you have a lot of these black people that say, oh, don't get these niggas money because this is going to be a bunch of broken and hurt Negroes getting the money, spending it, buying big TVs, jewelry, chains, and watches. Bro, I don't care what you think we're going to buy. We're still owed. And don't let a stereotypical representation of what the bottom class economically black people have historically done when they got a little bit of money is, okay, I'm tired of surviving. Can I finally live? Can I finally buy something to make me comfortable, to reflect how I feel inside on the outside material-wise? Don't look at those particular demographic of black people and throw it on the whole group of us, because doing that is the same way when white people put certain negative stereotypes and try to cast a wide general blanket on the rest of the black population. That same narrative he has is same anti-black narratives white people use to deny us reparations historically.
Yeah, that's facts. I agree wholeheartedly with that. And I also agree with what you said about people should take courses to be able to receive it. If we obtain it and be able to get the reparations, then you have to take some sort of financial course to be able to obtain it, so you won't lose it and just blow it all over the place, though. But I did a show middle of the week last week of Killer Mike and Bill Maher conversation. And when I was talking like that, FBJ, the people that was, because that shit got 1,000 comments. That was like one of my third or fourth shows that really went crazy like that. And they was telling me in the comment section, when people get reparations, don't tell them what to do with the money. They can do whatever they want to do with the money. Their ancestors or whatever had to deal with what they had to deal with for them to obtain it. And now here you go, a token nigga or whatever they was trying to call me, saying that you trying to tell people what to do with the money. But I got a question for you though, fam. If reparations is given and it's not given in a cash payment or like a debit or to a bank or something, what other forms would you like to see, and could you see reparations given besides just cash?
Okay, I say not only should we be getting cash pay, cut the check. The reason why I say cut the check, because every other racial group got a check cut. Don't look at niggas and be like, oh, we're going to give you books and nigga trinkets and slave chains, and now you feel whole again. No, nigga, cut me that same check you cut the Chinese, Japanese, small hats. Don't be trying to figure out no remix because it's niggas turn that back, number one. And number two, not only do we need money, the reason why we have that mindset we're going to spend it on things is because America has forced us to be consumers. It's forced us to be materialistic, because that is the only thing we are allowed to do in America, is be in front of the counter and not behind the counter. You think all niggas want to do is get a $20,000 check, $40,000, $50,000 check, and don't want to buy that vacant convenience store? Don't want to get the Aki spot where we selling the liquor, or we selling the smoke shops, or even opening up just organic produce in food deserts. It's not the fact that we want to just buy TVs and flashy cars. That's the only option we have in America to survive, is to be a consumer, because once we become a business person, somebody behind the counter making economic moves, you shut us down, you bar us from it, you don't give us loans, you don't give us these business grants, you give it to everybody else, and then turn around and tell us black people we can't come up. I'm telling you, it's the same mentality these anti-black people use to keep us down. If you allow us to be business owners, if you allow us to have economic growth, if you do not stop, burn down, and sabotage successful black businesses, then maybe we do feel safe to take this money and invest it in our future and in our offspring. But if we can't, and we don't, and we're not allowed to, the only thing is up, and that's left to us to do before we get taxed out of our own money that's owed to us, is spend it. They tell you that in the government.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, and I want to react to some of these comments. And if people want to call in and join the discussion with me and Florida Boy Jay, I don't know how long you have, my brother, but we can accept some callers. Y'all want to talk crazy? Y'all want to, we quick to respond. So at the end of the day, I agree with you. I say that the government and the white supremacists obtain their power through violence and fear all the time. So I agree with you when you were saying, if you let us, because they got to allow us, and not look at us as somebody that's an op, because basically they looking at us like ops if they start burning down our shit, burning down our cities and communities and everything. And I hate that shit, to be honest with you, though, fam. And I hate talking about, the violence and shit that
they hate the fact that we don't need them to survive. They hate the fact that when we get our own, unlike every other racial group who has to be a parasitic entity to like black neighborhoods or lower class neighborhoods in order to survive, people from outside America, when black Americans get our own, we build our own, and we build it away from everybody else, because we would like to have our own to survive. And they don't like the fact that we don't come to them for help. And I'm just gonna say this to land my plane, like movie Sinners. It was a movie about black people paying out of pocket and taxed on a bunch of stuff they should have already had and owned, just to be by themselves, for those same people that they bought their stuff back from to come and destroy it again. That's the black American economic situation in a nutshell. That's reparations in a nutshell of what would happen, what has happened, and what's going to happen if we don't stop letting everybody in the cookout.
Yeah, you cooking with that one because we bought the shit. They come back trying to terrorize the shit because we can do it on our own and be by ourselves. And that's historically done. It's been done even before me and you was born, before our grandparents was born. But let me read a couple of the comments so I can engage with the people though, Florida Boy J, in case they want to call in and chop it up with us, man.
Facts.
No, you're not, but we will be a help. Yes, we are divided. Coming together is what we need. Freedom of speech is something we don't have. Shit. You ain't tapped in of me and Florida Boy J Chama, because this your platform, Carlos Chatham. You can call into the show right now and give your perspective. This is the media. We the new media. We the ones trying to have these constructive conversations with people so people can contribute and we can just further the discussion and be able to help each other and evolve everything. So let me read this one, fam. Bike, I can't pronounce your name, man. That shit crazy. Dr. Thomas Sowell is brilliant. Mickey Jones was popping. Mickey was popping. Thank you for tuning in to the show. Did they take a class to learn how genocide and oppress a whole nation of people? No. Well, I don't need a class to get what my family is owed.
I like that. But I disagree.
Talk to him, Florida Boy J.
Because I disagree because they absolutely did train themselves to take over genocide and oppress. They definitely did draw up a plan and execute the plan. And if you want to talk about the real world war, was when all the European nations waged war on the newfound land called America, where the French went this way, the Spanish went that way, the Portuguese went left, the English went right, and all borders of the Western Hemisphere were attacked by Europe. That was a class and a tactical plan that went over a span of 300 to 400 years and almost is still run to this day, where people did take a class in how to oppress people. I don't believe it was a formal class, but things are passed down and taught. And to bring it back home to reparations, I do feel like if we are cut a check, there should be a community of financial educators who can teach Black people who are willing to grow the money that is owed to them, to grow reparations. There's going to be some niggas who are going to buy material stuff, but we do need a safe space outlet for Black people who want to be financially illiterate and grow to go to, like the Freedmen's Bank. Remember, they had that right when Black people became free. Niggas who were very financially stable and savvy was putting their money in the Freedmen's Bank, right? Trusted a Black or Black-faced financial establishment just to get robbed and duped. And that was another version of reparations that was stolen from us. And the people who stole it faced no consequences. So I do believe that if we don't have financial literacy, we're going to have a Freedmen's Bank 2.0 after reparations.
I agree with that. I like what Miss Nikki said, though, but I agree with you, too, though, Florida Boy J. A class is mandatory. And, you know, you're going to receive your money, but at the end of the class, you can do whatever you want to with it. It's just some assistance to help you. You know what I mean? It ain't, especially if it's orchestrated by us anyway. And if it's
by us.
Yeah, that's facts. You know, this comment sparked something to me. I read it, but I kept going because we got a couple of comments. But to me, like, I feel like slavery still exists, fam. I just feel like it's in a different form of slavery. Do you agree with that, or is that something that you don't think? Do you think slavery still exists?
Absolutely, slavery still exists. Slavery still exists when you get beat at home as a child for doing something wrong. And it chemically rewires your brain to have a higher level of risk tolerance and a higher level of a pain threshold, because you're being conditioned through slave practices about what to do right or wrong and taking physical punishment for it. We still are enslaving and indoctrinating ourselves as a youth. It's a defense mechanism that the parent is using when they're hitting their child because they see their child as a threat. And it's a distrust that the child has from the parent from early on. So if you look at everybody who's really been to prison or who goes through the penal system, that is a form of slavery. They have been beat. They've been subjugated to violence. They have low literacy scores, and they have institutionalized slavery before you get locked up. It goes from you get suspended to detention to going to detention centers. So slavery is no longer outside of the body anymore. It's inside of the mind. So slavery still does exist.
That's what I was about to say. The slavery to me exists mentally. It's not physical no more. It's just a mental form of slavery because people can't free their mind. That's what I think. Miss Mickey responded to the conversation that we're having. And Mickey, if you got the time, call into the show. You see the number right up under me. I would highly appreciate to hear your perspective because you always give good takes every time you call into shows. And I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people who can train themselves financial discipline if needed. Who are we to tell other people how to spend their money?
I got a question though. If anybody here has gotten any settlement money, have gotten even a grant money from or student loan money or scholarship, whatever. If you came into a big lump sum of money at a certain age where you did not have any financial literacy to move this money around or to do the right thing with it, you have anxiety. You have a level of uncertainty. You don't have to be somebody who's ignorant to it, but I believe that most people, if you do come into a lump sum of money, you would like and you would prefer to have a little bit of, a heads up or a little bit of a navigation on what to do with the right thing money. If you got $3 million tomorrow, right? What are you going to do? You're going to go to a financial advisor, right? That's the smart thing. You're going to go to a banking and brokerage system. You're going to go to you're going to go to somebody who knows money more than you, who can help you move the money around. That is a financial literate decision to make. The unliterate decision is thinking you got $3.2 million, and because that check hits your bank account today, you are $2.3 million smarter than you were yesterday. And that's why that 2.3 is going to be gone in 2.3 months. Because you got the money, now you know better than the nigga who works at a financial institution for 30 years, and because he's black and he's an FA, you might not trust him. You might think he's going to swindle. And the sad thing about it, he might swindle your money. So it is a level of distrust that black people naturally have with telling people how much money they make, telling people where the money is, and asking what to do with this money once they told them it. Because, we always have this mindset, don't show your plate to a nigga that's hungry.
We got a caller, fam. Detroit tapping in. You done got passionate and got the folk calling in, fam.
Come on, man.
Hey, you tapped in the Trevor Jackson podcast, and I got Florida boy Jay on the line with me. What's popping with you tonight?
It's me calling.
It's Miss Mickey.
Give you my perspective. It is.
Thank you.
Okay, listen here.
Talk to us.
I ain't want to tell my business, but he said I got a question for you. So I'm going to answer your question. When I was 17 years old, my father had passed, and I got an inheritance. $3.2 million as a 17-year-old. No one told me what to do. No one had to tell me what to do. As a black person in the United States of America, I took it upon myself to invest in what I felt I needed for my life. I bought my house and I went to college and I chose my things that I needed for myself and my family. My thing is, with this whole reparation conversation, is who are we to tell people what to do and how to do with what their family is owed? You are no more of authoritarian over the next person's life than the government. You're doing the same thing everyone else is doing. You telling black people, we don't want you to get your money to go flex. If that's what they want to do with their money, they're going to do it. But if you have someone that know what to do when it comes time to do it and make responsible financial responsibilities for the community, they will. You don't get to decide as a whole, that's what we have to do. I'm not taking no class.
Okay.
Unless I want to.
Yeah.
Give me my money and quit trying to tell me that I gotta have stipulations on it. Why you putting stipulations on what a whole nation is owed? You ain't over you're talking like white people.
I was about to ask you that. Do you think we up here talking privilege and acting like white folk with that ideology that we speak?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, I appreciate you, Miss Mickey. Do you have any?
Now stop. If they gonna cut check, give me my money. If I need a class, or if Shaniqua, Shakusha, whatever her name is, need a class, if that's what she want to do, she gonna do it.
Okay.
And if she want to buy the raggedy Jaguar, then go let her do it.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have anything to say to her, Florida Boy Jay, after she gave her take? Also,
Yeah. I partly do agree with her, where I don't feel like we should have certain special. We shouldn't have to jump through hoops to get our money, right?
Yeah.
But I do feel like, okay, where she's coming from is in a sense in the same way we may be speaking from a privileged situation, where she inherited some money, but I'm pretty sure before, or just her family environment had a level of financial literacy to where she didn't have to go outside of her environment to do the right thing with her money. But what I'm saying is, there's not a lot of Black people who are privileged to have anybody around them to tell them what to do with $1,000, much less 100,000 or more. And some of those people who don't have access to other financially smart people might be seeking assistance. And I feel like once we do get reparations, those people that don't have access to the people we have access to should have an option and have an opportunity to, if they want to learn, if they want to seek out the right people, that option is available for them. And I think that is something that we shouldn't just give the money blindly to each other and say, if you want to buy a Jag tomorrow, then buy a Jag tomorrow. Because 5, 10, 15 years down the line, they may get that type of financial literacy and regret the decision they make. And I don't want my young 18, 19, 20-year-olds, 17-year-olds to get paper and blow it all on Versace belts and Louis V's and Nikes. And then when they hit 22 to 23 and their frontal lobe is developed, they're like, damn, I could have took that money and changed my life.
Yeah. I like that. I like.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you cook.
It is.
Hold up, Miss Mickey. I'm gonna let you cook, but I want to react to something Florida Boy Jay and give it to you for you to be able to cook. I like what Florida Boy Jay is saying by having the people have someone that is looking out for their best interest, that is from their same nationality and race, be able to help them orchestrate the finances that they obtain to be able to do what's in the best interest from it. And I like what you saying, give me my money and let me do what I do with my money though. But I do think that's a form of help that people would appreciate in the long run though. But I'm gonna let you cook, Miss Mickey. What's your take?
That's all I'm gonna say is that set up that system, set up that place where Shakusha can go out inside of her community and get that financial literacy before you start telling people that they got to do this with their money.
Okay.
Set up that place. If we're gonna have that option, then we have to set up that option
before reparations is given. Is that what you're saying also?
But if she, yes.
Yeah. And just to add on to what you're saying, ma'am, I do believe that before reparations is set, just like Trevor said, we need to have financial literacy institutions. We have entrepreneur institutions. We need to have educational institutions. We need to have certain things. We need to have certain pillars set up in our community before the money comes, or once we know the check is coming. We have to set these protective barriers and insulate ourselves so we don't have to go outside to get the teachings or the learnings or to put our money outside somewhere else. So this is why I say we do need financial literacy classes, or we just need some things within our community with people who already got it, who can help people who are about to get it. And that's kind of really all I'm trying to say at that point, that we do need to have certain things set up to help the ones who don't know and are willing to learn.
Okay, then let's talk about that. But don't start putting those stipulations and requirements on a whole nation of people.
Okay,
that's fair.
Thank you, Miss Mickey.
We want to move this conversation forward without sounding like white people. All right, have a good night, Trev. You know I'm gonna be in the comments.
I highly appreciate you. We got people calling in. And I done missed a few calls, but you know I appreciate you, Miss Mickey, all the time. I get anytime you call into the show stops,
Okay.
so you can be able to speak. Thank you for your time.
All right. Love you, babe. Bye.
Love you too. Hey, good take though, man. We got
Yeah.
somebody from Duval calling in, fam.
Oh
I
shit.
don't know who it is, but let's see what Duval talking about, fam. Like they be going in on me in Duval, man. They're a little aggressive down there where you from, fam.
Oh yeah, hey, that's why I be talking niggas crazy on Star Report, because I'm like, bro, do you know where I'm from? Like, no, we can meet downtown today. Like, we on it down here, but let's get these calls, man.
Hey, you tapped into the Trevor Jackson podcast. I got my dog Florida boy Jay on the line with me. What's popping? What's popping?
What's popping? This is UBI.
UBI.
Correct.
Tell us
Correct.
tell us what the abbreviation is, because you went by something different though about a couple months ago. Now this wasn't UBI. This was my dog Doge, ain't it?
This UBI. I have many names.
Okay. Well, talk to us, man. What's your perspective on what has been said so far during the conversation?
I agree with Miss Nikki. She's
Okay.
she knows, I know, and many other people know. If you look at the whole 2020, 2021, what was going on at that time?
COVID.
All right, and what type of loans were given?
SBA loans, PPP loans. Yep.
Correct. Now, how much money was given in total between 2020 and 2021?
I don't know the exact number. Educate us.
You want to take a guess? Just take
over $1 billion.
About 11 million loans were given out.
So,
but you want to take a guess the total amount?
A couple of $1 billion. More.
800 billion.
Okay.
800 billion. Now, how much of that was actually stolen? You would imagine
60%.
No, 10%. So what's 10% of 800 billion?
800 million.
80 billion.
Oh yeah, it is 80. Yeah.
You're right. You speak.
So see, this is what we're speaking on right there. There are people who listen to this hip hop and they see it, and so they imagine, yeah, if violence has happened in my lifetime, well, guess what? It's gonna happen in my microcosmic world for everybody who looks like me.
Now, what you say?
Any of y'all ever go through violence?
I got a question to ask you though, because you said something that caught my attention. People who listen to this hip hop. What do you mean by that?
People who listen to this corporate hip hop and are fascinated.
Okay.
Bling bling, shiny suit, stunting on people, music, right?
Yep.
Okay.
They have now been perverted, their mindset.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a generation before us, and actually still to this day, just a tad bit older than us. They never got into the hip hop.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Yes, my dad's generation. Honestly, my dad was born. He graduated in 1981. So you do, like he's saying, you do have a generation of young men and women who, when they were coming up, it was about R&B and soul music, and they were fully developed humans before this hip hop thing came over. And it does seem like a degenerative culture to them. So he might have a point with that generation gap.
A lower vibrational culture, a lower vibrational conversation.
Right.
So in reparations, we're going to cap the market cap for, okay, how much you think is expected for reparations? What would you?
Me, I don't know the number. I'm learning from the people. I think. Go ahead, cook then.
No, go ahead.
I'm learning from the people. That's what my whole platform was created for. I do shows recorded to give my perspective and my thoughts. When I come on live, I like to learn from the people. I ain't the smartest, but I ain't no broke nigga up here speaking now. I'm straight now. To be honest with you, though, but I want to learn from the people. Educate me.
It's supposed to be over a couple trillion, a few trillion.
Yeah,
you know. So just imagine like 10% of this was just the recipients fucked up their money, fucked up their reparations money. What evil would that do? Just think about that. Just 10% of a 2 trillion. What evil would it do if people just fucked up their money? Tell me. Come on, convince me.
I ain't trying to convince you that.
It's like miracles would happen. Mansa Musa type of stuff. Come on.
So you saying?
We gotta get about this crap, though. We got to get about it. No, none of these other people that we talked about in the past, they were all self-taught. They all pulled their pennies together and made a business, the whole immigrant myth.
Now,
when it comes down to an older generation, an older class who was just really self-taught, came up from the mud, indigenous to this country, and became millionaires in the apex of oppression.
Yeah.
C.J. Walker, just countless. We have 12 trillion spending power. There's not 1.2 trillion spending power.
Fam, before you get to cooking, I appreciate everything you saying. My boy had something that he wanted to ask you. I want him to ask you so y'all can keep cooking to keep the conversation going. What did you have to say to him, Florida boy Jay? I don't want you to lose your train of thought.
I was just gonna say when he talks about, nigga, it's gonna be a level of violence and that, is he saying because it will be a segment that will blow their money and see the other segment reaching financial heights and breaking financial heights in the Black community? And are you saying that the one segment is going to go after the other because they messed up their money and see that the ones that didn't are growing? Is that what you're trying to say, that the level of violence is going to heighten?
I'm saying if reparations was given, and let's say I'm gonna underscore 80, let's say 800 billion as well, all right, just for foundational Black Americans. We're gonna underscore 800 billion, but 10% of us fucked it up on booze, Pampers, whatever you want to talk about, T-shirts, cars, jewelry. What type of monumental, catastrophic evil would occur from that?
Zero.
So let's stop this defeated coon Sambo stuff.
So what you saying, fam? Talk to us.
Let's just stop talking like this.
What are we talking about? We never said.
We've never talked. Yeah, we need the Jewish folks never talk like that amongst each other. The Asian folks don't talk like that amongst each other.
Give us the talking point of what it was talked about, or that we speak into the other people that was said that was coonish. Help us out.
I think we need to have some type of workshop before we start speaking. So is.
So you're saying that you believe that there should be basically what last caller kind of disagreed with, and kind of in the middle of what I'm saying, but I don't know how far he's going with it as far as like a workshop or something like that. I was just saying that we should have certain things available within our own community that can help teach us what to do with the money. That was
I don't see nothing wrong with that, fam.
Right. I don't either.
We have workshops all the time. Does this stop? What does that stop or improve?
You're dealing with a different You're dealing with a different economic Black person at the point.
For newborn parents.
Hold on.
This workshop for first-time parents. How does that improve things? And we could speak about, hey, parents today, they're not allowed to supposedly discipline their children physically. However, by the time they come like 11, 12, 13, if they don't discipline them, what usually happens? They end up in a situation where they could be disciplined in the Department of Corrections, where a grown-ass man can punch them square in they goddamn jaw.
You know what's crazy though, fam? Like, I could take it to a street element of what you saying, because my original background is really from the streets. I'm a corporate nigga now, but I'm really from the streets. You calling niggas coons and shit, and
not you.
No, but
it's coonish behavior.
No, the ideology was coonish. That's basically what you were saying. The thought process, the perspective was coonish. But to
we
me,
got to put guardrails on ourselves, because we can't. We too emotionally immature.
Listen,
that's anti-black.
I can't finish my take. First of all,
sorry,
it's cool. I'm gonna let you speak, and you can speak as long as you
want.
I'm
to. Sorry, sir.
But my thoughts of this is that you got to know who you dealing with. Like the people who, this is like getting a driver's license or some shit. You gonna always have your money. You'll get your reparations, but to me, the ideology of what's being said is that taking this class or learn how to conduct yourself, ain't nothing wrong with that. People don't. I feel like sometimes black folks don't even like, and if people don't like me for saying this shit though, I don't give a fuck at the end of the day. But niggas don't like like learning shit, or you know what I'm saying, like having guardrails around. Folks just want to do what they want to do, and this country ain't like that. It's rules, laws, and regulations in this motherfucker, or you'll never be able to succeed without following the rules, laws, and regulations. So if you got somebody that look like you that want to assist you in involving your education with finances, then what's the problem with that? I'm here to listen to your perspective.
Name 5 people who can help assist us in these workshops to when we get reparations.
That was a good one. I feel like you could participate.
Name
go ahead.
2.
Go
name
ahead, Florida.
two.
Go ahead, Florida.
Two people. Two.
We don't even have to name individuals. We can just get the best black economic minds in America. We can get the top black financiers in America. We get the top black entrepreneurs. We can get a class of certain people in every sector that is willing to help and to educate black people. I just don't believe that we just need to be running around telling niggas, don't tell me nothing, don't tell me what to do this money, don't do. I mean, we're gonna have a segment of those, and then that's one extreme. They were like, don't tell me what to do with my money, nigga. We got another extreme, and they be like, oh, we need guardrails, and we need to track every dollar these Negroes spend, and if they spend $1, then we gotta take it away. No, we should have things that are optionally available for black people, and we should have people and institutions in place in our own communities that are willing to help. That's what I'm saying.
There are already.
Okay, help educate.
Now, like FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, he went up in there with cargo shorts, a big curly fro, and what everybody do with their money, all these billionaires and the 1%, what they do, what happened to their money when they invested with him?
They lost it, but that's a different story. Because you're talking about
so you think we would do something like that?
What you're speaking on is people who made their money in other areas who aren't financially savvy. They're looking at these like same Bankman-Fried or the other guy back in I forgot the recession who stole all those people money. You're talking about individuals who are looking for tax breaks and are already a part of the 1%, looking to move their money around with the 1%. Giving people brick and mortar 1, 2, 3 ABC financial building blocks, rules, giving people not even simplified ways to do things, but giving people the option to learn, or giving people, okay, if we've already got our money, I thought we would be more receptive and more available and accessible to learn these things. Stop trying to tell niggas how to, okay, build a business like this is that. No, we can't get these grants or loans. No, we can't walk to the bank and get a business loan, but we can go in there and get a car loan with a 16% interest rate. They never give us the two. We can teach each other everything there is to learn, but if I can't take these rules and these lessons and apply them tangibly to my life with the fair shot that every other race gets, then what's the point of taking classes and learning stuff when I don't even have the access to apply what I'm learned, or have the bank or the financial access to achieve what I'm learning? That's why you don't see a lot of black people trying to learn some of these things. They'd be like, someone's have to defeat this personality where it's like, yo, why am I going to learn this when I'm going to be denied to apply the information that I just learned?
Doge, I want you to respond to Florida Boy Jay's take and land your plane because we have multiple people calling into the show. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate you. I would love to hear your response, my brother.
Mr. Legendary, are you the legendary Florida Boy Jay from Star?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's me, man. It ain't a two, it's only one.
Yeah, you are a legend. You are a legend. This is my actually first time seeing who you are, sir.
Hey, I appreciate it.
Correct. And the algorithm right now is hot. Just from this conversation alone, when I speak, there's money involved. Pay attention to that. However, what you just said, I can't disagree. I can't disagree with you. We're not there yet.
Yeah.
However, you look at California as it's burning up. In the next 5 years, that can be ours again. Think about it.
That's interesting.
Think about it. For real. We're already in Vegas.
Yeah. Ownership.
Just think, that's ours again. Soon.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you for your time,
Breathe
man.
easy, everybody. And if I brought out the emotions, it's for a better show. Let's cut.
That's what I'm talking. That's what I'm talking about, my guy.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate it, man.
Hey, my boy from y'all do fall niggas, man. Y'all niggas reckless, boy.
Yo, I'm trying to tell you down here, bro. We be talking like it's about to go down, but we just having a conversation. Like the way you talk, the way I was talking, is like, bro, it's a Florida thing. Think about Kaya, Tia, Kemp. Think about you think of even some of the dudes, you think about think about some of the best roasters and best flamers or the most violent niggas verbally. A lot of them do come from Florida. I don't know what it is in the water. Maybe it's the heat.
Hey, man, I don't know. We got another caller calling back in, man, from Springfield, Michigan. What's popping, man? You tapped into the Trevor Jackson podcast. I got my dog.
What's going on, man? This
to
is Eric, man. I'm calling back, man. Actually, I'm from Pontiac, man. It's
okay.
A little ways outside Detroit. Yeah.
Yeah. Talk to us, man. Give us your take.
Yeah. I had talked to you earlier, but I was just calling, the guy that just got off, man. He kind of was playing word salad and talking sideways because he wasn't being clear.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree with your co-host, man. It would be cool to have some classes, not to push it on people, but
yeah,
that would be cool, man. But like me, I'm 58.
Talk to us.
So I'm retirement age. Mm-hmm. If I got reparations, I just sit on my money and just retire and travel and probably leave the country.
Mm-hmm. I need a favor from you though. Please turn your TV down in the back. I heard that echo, fam. I want to.
It is down, man.
Okay, thank you. Now, what's going on? I want to ask you a question because I'm into real estate and I like investing and all of that. Tell me about, is Michigan on the rise right now? Because I seen at one point homes was for sale for free up at motherfucker down there to me.
Man, and that's you should have caught it back when it was going on, when it's going down, man. It was man, you getting small 700 square feet homes. They want like 120, 130,000, man. It's way up, man.
Oh, that's what they're going for now, 100,000.
Yeah, and I'm in Pontiac, man, and we're like maybe a little bit more than Flint, but I'm just saying.
I remember them homes was like $5,000, $10,000, $7,000. They going for 150 now or whatever, like you saying though. But I'm in Charlotte. When I think about that, I look at investment reasons because North Carolina, this shit high. You ain't got $500,000. You better not even sneeze down this motherfucker.
Exactly. It's up, man. I mean, at one point you could. I seen houses in my old neighborhood, and I was from a working class neighborhood.
Yeah.
These houses were like $9,000, $10,000 down there. People are buying them. People bought them and refixed them up.
I missed that.
They're going for 100 plus now.
I missed out. Damn, I missed out. I always be angry when I see that because I remember, man, at a time like when folks was getting certain amounts of money doing things that they didn't have no business participating in, I could have bought one of them shits every day.
Exactly. Yeah. During the housing crisis, even people had bought apartment buildings, 6-unit apartment buildings, and fixed them up.
Yeah.
They were getting for like $15,000, man. Didn't have the money for it, but a lot of people, and a lot of people that bought up some stuff was Mexicans.
Damn, is it?
They were buying up in this little city. They was buying up some of the properties too.
Yeah. What's the makeup of that city before you go, man, and land your plane? Tell us the makeup of the city. Is it majority black, or what's the, you know what I mean, the population, the structure of it?
It's mostly black.
Yeah.
It's been when I was coming up, I was born and raised here. I'm the youngest of 10 kids, so like I told you, I'm 58. So my parents worked in General Motors. That was the main. You worked at General Motors, you was considered hood rich. Yeah. Especially in the 70s and 80s, so, but yeah, that the makeup it's black. It's becoming more Hispanic too. It's becoming more Hispanic. A lot of properties are being rented too. So while you're talking about properties, a lot of the properties are rented. There's a lot of rental properties around here.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I was just saying, like, what my man was talking about, like the negative, because everybody keeps saying people will do wrong with their reparations instead of thinking about what they're going to do right with it. We got a lot of people we got a lot of business-minded people in our community that could, help us, man, and do a lot more help than hurt.
Yeah.
And I think this is this narrative that everybody's pushing on the, on the internet, especially your Myron from Fresh and Fit.
Okay.
They think we're going to go buy Hennessy and rims.
Tether, though.
That's a few people. I mean, that's younger people more so. You look at somebody like myself, like I told you, I'm 58. You think I'm trying to buy all that stuff, man? I'm trying to go and live right, live good for 20, 30 years I got left,
My boy, I think my boy got something to say to you, Florida boy JD.
No, go ahead, my man.
I agree with what he's saying, where it's certain people like me, to a certain extent, like you, Trevor, or like the caller. Some of these material things that they think all black people are going to rush out and buy, we already have. Like, I already have 2 sports cars. I got a closet full of shoes. I have money now, and I don't buy material things anymore because I already got it. So all I would need is like one more lump sum check, and I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Exactly. But the thing is, see, a lot of us, we don't have. We would do things if I had $1 million, I'm going to invest it in this. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I got $2,500 for a grant one time when I was in school, when I was 17, 18, something like that, maybe 19. I went through it. It wasn't a lot, I thought I was going to never go broke. But if I had, if I had like 100,000 or just grew up and I had that money like that, no doubt I would say, hey, I need to go invest in something. Mm-hmm. And that's what we don't see. The thing is, I think with a lot of people, when they buy, expensive stuff or whatever, they feel like, well, this is it. I don't know where my next dollar coming from. I might as well look good. But if I had this, I would invest in this property. I would invest in this land.
Yeah.
If I had the money, I would invest in that nice, convenient gas station that sell liquor. But we just don't get those opportunities. We don't get the loans for it. I had a sister. Well, I still have a sister. My oldest sister. They were pretty well off. Her and her husband. Both worked at General Motors at the time. They were probably about 20 years ago. They were trying to get a loan for a convenient gas station. They couldn't get it for nothing, and they had assets. They wouldn't give it to them. And these people, they were on their job like 30 plus years and had properties and everything. So that's an example, and we know. And people from other places, they come get something just like that, And that's the thing that they're not understanding. But see, once we become wealthy as a whole, we can start buying up these places and start developing our own. And that's what people don't look at. Yeah. We could do a lot better than what people think we're going to do. They're giving us the credit for.
Yeah.
You guys are doing great yourselves. I'm looking at two businessmen, well off. So just think of what we could do if we had the capital.
Yeah, and in a unified way like that. I appreciate your
Right.
call, my brother, man. And
All right. I appreciate it.
thank you for tapping into the show, man. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to
For
the channel,
sure.
man,
For
so you can
sure.
always participate in these discussions. Did you have anything that you wanted to address with him, Florida Boy J, or we're gonna let him land his plane right here, family?
We can let him land his plane. I just appreciate everything he was saying.
Thank you, family.
Right. I appreciate you, man. And look, I'm gonna tune into your channel too, because I just got into Trevor's channel just by going through my feed here, and then you came on. So hey, I'm gonna be checking both you guys out, man.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it.
Hey, I'm gonna put a link in the chat to Florida Boy J's channel right now, and then during the playback in the comment section, it'll be a link in his channel also, because I want brothers to tap into FBJ, man. He be kicking shit on his channel.
Okay, for sure. Well, he got a new subscriber then, so
let's get it.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, you guys take care.
Thank you for your time. Yeah. Boy tapped in from Michigan, man. Florida Boy J. I think this was a good discussion, man.
Yeah,
hey,
man. Yeah, I want to go ahead, my bad.
I was looking forward to conversing with you tomorrow. I was gonna hit you up tomorrow though, but this was dope enough right here to me though. And if you got time tomorrow, we can link up again though, man.
Yeah, we definitely got time tomorrow. Like I said, today, I like I said, I woke up, I seen you tapped in, and I seen the topic. I'm like, yo, I got to call, I gotta show some love. And remember, we were talking about Black American topics the other day, on the phone. So we know what time it is. And last of all, I want to land my plane about this topic before I get off with the caller. Signifies it's kind of like my dad's generation, where you had stable jobs in the economy. You got to work and build up your family. And that is the same generation where they had kids who used to work. They had kids who can go to the local Black-owned grocery store and work a summer job or do newspapers. So we have a whole generation of Black adults who were working at 13, 14, 15, who learned financial acumen, who learned how to save their money, how to do this, do that at an early age, where when me and you came up by the recession, it was hard for an 18-year-old to go, to McDonald's, get a job, or to go to certain places, because they raised basically the minimum requirements to get a job for entry level. Entry level didn't exist for us in corporate America by the time we came along, and to the point where, even just let me play a little bit more. About 10 years before me, if you graduate probably 2001 or late 90s, you could have got a job at Taco Bell, bought a little car, moved out at 18. We don't know anybody who is turning 18 in this generation right now who is graduating, getting a car, and moving out of the parents' house. It's unheard of. So you have pretty much put the barrier of entry in the sky for the most of us, cut out the things that even past generations had, and are expecting this, me and you, our era, to learn with less and to do more with what's not even available.
That's true.
I want to say that. I want to thank you so much for allowing me to come on your platform and to speak for a little bit. Thank you to everybody who has called in, who has participated in this show. I love it. I love how people are engaged. And if you guys are looking for anything, just subscribe to Florida Boy J 904, and just salute. Trevor Jackson is that guy. He is going to lead us out of the wilderness and into prosperity in the Black community.
Hold up now. Don't make me the leader.
I am co-signing. I am representing. I'm standing next to my brother right here. Salute, man. I'm going to holler at you on the back end, bro. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Appreciate your time, family.
Yes, sir.
All the time.
Yes, sir. Man.
Yes, sir. Hey, man, thank y'all for tuning into the show. I feel as if this was a great discussion, a great conversation, a great episode, man. And salute to all the people that called into the show also. Thank you, Miss Mickey. Thank you, Doge. It was a great discussion. And I feel like, it's going to be more of these discussions happening on the channel. I'm going to try to go live more frequently, man. I do a lot of uploads and stuff, though. But salute to Florida Boy J for tapping into the show. Thank y'all so much, man. I appreciate y'all, man. You know how I leave out on every show. I tell y'all peace, love, plenty abundance. Make sure you go get you some money, and I'm gone. Chill.
The Trevor Jackson Podcast.